Welcome to Reunite with Self podcast. I'm your host, Rukan. Here, we will be discovering and unraveling what is truly holding you back. We will put the puzzle together and give you clarity on how and what you can do to create massive shift in your life so you start creating the life you always envisioned for yourself. There is no more waiting. Whether it is liberating from dysfunctional family patterns or parenting tools and tips that actually make the difference, we will be diving into the truth and core of things that are simple and which yet no one talks about. I will be sharing with you all the things that would have changed my life massively if I heard any one of these episodes. A new world is awakening, and true bliss, harmony, and peace is possible on this earth. And my mission is to bring you closer to that, one step at a time. In this safe space, I will hold your hand and give you courage and certainty that you can shift anything and everything in your life. It is time we break the pattern. Whether you want to be the parent you never had or make a shift in your life so you don't play small any longer, you will find the support and guidance in this space. My intention is for you to find answers within yourself while you listen to this podcast, so you feel the bliss of reuniting with your true essence, with self, with so much love and compassion and courage. From my heart to yours, let's keep it rockin'. My gorgeous listener, welcome to another episode on Reunite with Self. I'm smiling because for the first time, maybe I recorded I recorded one introduction and then I deleted and I started another one and then I stopped. I didn't record and then I deleted and now I begin again. So welcome to another episode on Reunite with Self. Today, we're going to talk about something that I'm in the midst of uncovering and learning a lot about more. Right now, I'm having experiences myself where I am invited to learn more about it and experiencing it more. So our topic today is, what is self-trust? This is huge for me. Self-trust is so huge, and I didn't know that this was something that, I get to work on today. So it's almost evening time here, like it's dark out, and a lot has been going on today. A lot of emotions, a lot of different practices, work, a lot of movement, physically, mentally, and I just got off a call with one of my business coaches, and although the session began with me asking a very different question, seemingly like a different topic, it all came down to this. And I just realized a couple of things about this, and I want to talk into it. That's why I just started recording right afterwards. I'm gonna wing it today. I didn't take any notes for the episode. I believe self-trust is very related to self-confidence as well. They have some like different some differences, not differences, but like they include things that are maybe a little niche for each one, self-trust and self-confidence for sure. Because I believe self-confidence is about taking the action and doing the things, and self-trust is what you experience during that journey, sort of, if I just break it down, like if I would want to simplify it. So what is self-trust? I believe what self-trust is, like me experiencing it right now in the midst of some experiences, me realizing that I want to and I get to experience or feel self-trust more, be in that state more, rather than like doubting myself or having any kind of resistance around anything that I made decisions around. This is so huge. This is huge for many, many, many people. And as my coach said, self-trust is not a destination. for sure. It's the journey. Like, we need to come back to self-trust and be conscious of when we are not trusting ourselves, or not even that. Like, yes, beneath it, maybe in that moment, you're not trusting yourself. But I believe that on the surface, it seems as if like you're having some kind of resistance for any experience you're having, for any decision you have made. I think self-trust is like what I just experienced these last few weeks was, when you make a decision and it's kind of like a big deal for you, like not huge maybe, but it's kind of a big deal for you. And when you make a decision, it takes time for you to get there, for you to experience it. And until you get there, until you experience it, you might have some kind of resistance. And for me, it's looked like me stressing out a lot, for like me doing my best, my like 100%, like I don't want to say 100%, me being in it 100% maybe. But because even in that language, I'm catching myself. So my way of coping with not trusting myself was maybe overworking or over-expecting things from myself. Over-expecting. We should compare ourselves with ourselves, like the previous day or the previous month or the previous week or the previous year of ourselves. That's for sure. And my resistance was not coming from there, but I just realized that let's say if I have 4 things on my plate, like 4 major things in my life or 5 major things in my life, I was comparing myself to me doing only one of them and being, the best at one of them. Just me using all my time in one of them, and what kind of experience I would be having if I was doing that, or what kind of results or whatever. And I was comparing myself to, me actually having my life experience, which was maybe like 5 major, let's say, areas of my life, or 5 major things in my life. I caught myself comparing myself for this. I didn't catch myself in one moment. Like, this was happening a lot, but this conversation we just had like gave me so much security in my body. And I was having a lot of different experiences today. I was having like different practices in my day, and I was going through a lot of different like epiphanies, a lot of emotions, like in a very, powerful way. And I'm just, as I'm learning things, I want to share them with you, because my journey has been, as you know, if you've been listening to this podcast, I always repeat, but the last a year and a half has been a completely different journey for me. Like, I know that I was born a year and a half ago. I just woke up to my life and I began my life. And I know that I am doing so much than I would ever do before. Not that I'm a different person now, but just because I woke up to a lot of things in my life, and I had the clarity in my life in like one instant, but it took a lot of experience for me to get to that moment, and it had to be that way. And I'm so grateful for all of that. But why I am sharing this is that I know that I am doing a lot of things in my life right now with like very high performance. And it's been like this for maybe 16 months now, that I've been just, I don't want to say go, go, go. It hasn't been like that, because I was like balancing. I had this different balance in my life too, but I did not have maybe one day off, like full day off, or like the things I would do before, like a full day, like a beach day. Not that I'm judging it. It's very necessary and it's very healthy and it's what I want in my life. But this moment in my life had to be like this. It was like this, and I'm feeling so fulfilled. I'm feeling so happy. But I just realized that, let's say in these 16 months, I made some decisions and I felt like I was wasting time on the wrong person, in air quotes. Nothing was wrong. Everything was like exactly the way it should be, in like logically too. When I think about it now, like it was perfect. But it seemed as if I was like wasting time. I could have done better. I wasn't directly judging myself because my mind doesn't work that way. Sometimes, someone can catch themselves being very judgmental towards themselves. Somebody's in front of my door, but I don't know what's happening. Excuse me. My mind, like if I am judgmental about something, my mind is not directly telling me, the voice in my head never says, oh, you're a failure, you're not enough, blah, blah, blah. I know this is a very common thing. That's not how I experience it. And that's why I was very angry when I realized that I was sabotaging myself because of like the outside voices, the outside influence, that it was making me experience something that was so out of my nature. That was like a huge thing for me when I realized that. Like, I'm not even judgmental towards myself, like with such clarity that way. And like my experience was, something very different than what I would want for myself. But what I want to say here is when I think about my experience now, like more recently, or just even today, I was focusing on and creating resistance for myself for comparing myself, how I would do, as I said, like one of those things, if I gave all of myself to one of that thing. If I, if I know that I'm only one person, I have 24 hours in a day, like I have these resources. And I am still learning for sure. And deep down, whenever I would think about this, I would remember and believe and have the clarity that no, like I'm on the right path. I know for sure everything is supposed to be the way it is. This is supposed to be my path. This had to be my story right now for sure. Like I'm just like, I feel it in my body. Like I feel it inside of me. But the analytical mind sometimes speaks in a different narrative, in a different tone. And that's when I put pressure on myself for no reason, because I don't even, like, I'm not in a stage in my life where I need to put pressure on myself. Like I am going all in. Like I am fully going in with so much passion and love and drive and hunger and all of that. I am going for it anyways. So I don't need to put any kind of pressure on myself, because I realized how much time I have wasted in my life. Like I did not show up. I played small. I was hiding. I was afraid of my success. Like all of those stuff, all of these things. I've realized that I just began my journey a year and a half ago. Like I don't want to say all of the other stuff was a waste at all. Like it had to be exactly that way so that they would bring me to that moment. But now, today, what my experience was that I realized after that call too, and whenever like I would, like even when I was asking a question, I was giving the answer myself. And my coach was like, you are answering your own question. Are you aware of it? And I was aware of it. I was asking the question and I was answering it myself. Like I knew deep down, but I needed the confirmation from outside. And so I want to talk to you about this. So self-trust is you experiencing your life and going through things and making decisions hopefully on things that, you know, that move the needle for you to start creating your incredible life. But what I was doing in that instance was that I was talking about a decision I made, and I'm 100% grateful, excited, so happy about it. But I was still, a part of me was putting so much pressure on myself today in these last couple of weeks, days. And I know that's not my nature. That's not what and not to like judge that side of me, by the way, like for the way I say it. I don't want to say it like that. I don't want to sound like that. I don't want to mean that. I don't want to feel that. When I say that, it was a part of me was needing that confirmation from outside to tell me you are on the right path. Like this was supposed to be this way. You are doing it all. Like you are like, all is wonderful. All is great. I wanted to hear that from outside. But when my coach asked me, if you want my confirmation like this, is it self-trust? And my answer is, of course, no. I don't want the confirmation from outside to make me feel good, or I don't want a great experience for me to feel self-trust. I want to trust myself when things are challenging too. That's really, truly my intention for myself and for you as well, hopefully, if that's what you want for yourself. Even if things are challenging, even if you have found a formula that's, you know, that would have saved you time 6 months ago, let's say, I still want to feel total trust, because improvement and learning is this, that we have progress every however days, months, years, whatever the subject is, depends on it. But improvement and learning is this, and that is like the life journey. And if we are fully in it, we're going to have more experiences to learn from, and we're going to learn more every so often, like whatever that time frame is for that thing. And there is always a necessary time if it's something new for you. When something is new, you need that time to learn, to stumble, to make mistakes maybe. Nothing is a mistake. I see that now clearly too. But that analytical mind, and that I know is coming from my past, because I know deep down we have self-trust for ourselves when we are born. We trust ourselves when we are born. And the outside influence, first parents, then family, then the other circle, like it all begins in the family, but the influence that we have from outside is what causes us to have these self-doubt, self-limiting beliefs, self-doubting beliefs. It does not come from inside. I know this for sure. So when you reunite with self, when you are with true your higher self or yourself, you don't have any self-doubt. That voice of love, like what your higher self would say, what your intuition would say, what your heart would say, it does not come from the tone of fear. It comes from love, and it directs you to the place. The narrative is like this. The difference of the ego and the intuition is this. Like if it's your intuition, it says, go this way, like go through this door. It's going to be amazing. It's the right way. It's inviting. It's welcoming. It's expansive. Even if there is a danger, it tells this to you in a different tone, is in a softer tone, not because the ego, the mind talks, the ego is there, the brain is there to have you survive, not for you to thrive. So the tone of the ego or the tone of the mind is not that I love my mind, by the way. I love logic. I love my mind. I love that air energy. I love intellect because it all serves something. But I know that it's not the way that I use it to lead my life. Like I am like that in my nature too. But I know that as humans, we are here to, follow the call, our heart, our intuition, our soul, whatever, your higher self, whatever you want to call it. And I know that we are always in the right place, in the right path. And what I want to say here is my intention for myself is I want to be self-compassionate when I think about my journey as I am going through it. So I caught myself today not trusting myself, meaning not trusting my decision, a decision that I made. Although I know deep down it's the right decision, like 100%, like I feel so good in my body thinking about it. But it was my analytical mind that, was maybe expecting more from me or whatever it is, or saying, is this right? Is this wrong? The egoic mind is the narrative, the tone of it is based on fear, and the intuition voice is based on love. So that's why it's more expansive, whereas the ego is like, oh, are you going to go there? It should be dangerous. Like, how are you going to handle this? What if this stuff happen? Blah, 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 blah. Like, that's the egoic mind. So you can always differentiate it that way. And that's how I know that I'm not in self-trust if I'm listening, if I am in that voice, if I am asking myself those questions, or if I am just being in that state, like during some parts of the day, asking myself or putting pressure on myself or wanting more from myself, or wanting anything to be different than what it is, or not being satisfied with myself, or anything. So I wanted to talk to you about self-trust for the reason that although it seemed as if I was trusting myself, and although, you might be someone that takes action, makes decisions easily, follows it, goes after it, there is still, like, if you ever find yourself in a place where you are I'm thinking of what word to use, because I don't want to say we should raise our standards to expect more from ourselves, but also have the balance of knowing I went fully for it, like knowing in your heart I went full force for it, because you know it when it happens. Like, I am saying all of this, I was experiencing that, knowing 100% that I was like going after, everything in my life, like fully. I wasn't holding back. But it's only one person. I only have this amount of time, so I only can put my time into certain things in, like, I'm doing my best. I know that. And my best is going to be different every day. What I want to say here is that if you ever find yourself having any resistance for any of the decisions that you made, it's a good idea to see if the thing that is coming up is about self-trust or not. Because deeper down it was for me, and it took a while for me to get to that place. And if we talk about self-confidence is for me, and I talked about this, I think before a couple of times, self-confidence is if you do the things that you promise to yourself, then that's self-confidence. So if I promise myself that I'm going to do this thing tomorrow and that thing tomorrow, and if I show up and follow through, or if I tell myself when I think about something, I'm going to take this action. And if I do take that action, that creates self-confidence. So self-confidence is created through action. So that's why I believe self-confidence is more about the actions that you are taking, the steps that you are taking, the momentum you're creating. That to me is self-confidence. But self-trust is, as you are doing these things, you trusting yourself for the decisions that you are making. And innately we had self-trust when we were born or when we were toddlers before any trauma. But the voice outside, or the voice in your analytical mind, is the voice that you were hearing in your life about the actions you were taking or the decisions you were making. And this is really related to the previous episode when we were talking about, have you found your passion yet? If you haven't listened to it, listen to it for sure. I really love that episode. It's very powerful to remind ourselves about like decision making, and it's about self-trust as well. But I believe self-trust is trusting ourselves that we are on the right path, that all is fine. That was my experience in a very challenging moment, maybe in one of the most challenging moments in my life. Like, I realized I had a very connecting moment with nature and with the whole universe. It was like in one, like, it was an experience. And I realized the message for me, what I experienced in that moment, that even if there is chaos, like whatever is happening, all is well. Because there is this divine orchestration, like in the universe. Everything is happening as it should. Everything is happening as it should, and it's all fine. At the end, there is a harmony, a system maybe beyond our logic. No matter what is going on, all is well. And self-trust is being compassionate with yourself. And if you are in a phase in your life where you're going after all the things that you dream of, when you're going like with all of yourself, self-trust is knowing that you are on the right path. You have already made the right decisions. You are making the right decisions. Whatever decision you make, it's the right one for you. I don't know if there's a better word than right, because I don't want it to be like right or wrong, but it is the path for you. Whatever decision you are making, if you are following your heart, if you are doing everything that is aligned with the stars, if you are going with your intuition, if you're going fully for it, it's that knowing that you are in the path, because you are the path. So, yeah, this is going to be a shorter episode today. I'm going to leave you with this today. I hope it gave you some kind of, a confirmation or something that you realize about your own journey, or about a way of thinking maybe you have about anything. So my intention is for us to have self-trust, come back to self-trust, because that is our true nature. In our nakedness, in our core, in the true self, we have that self-trust. And all is well. And you are on the right path. Everything is well. I love you so much. I'll see you next week on next week's episode. My gorgeous listener, if you had any takeaways from this episode or from this podcast in general, I would love to know. Please share this episode with a few loved ones right now. You never know how they can benefit from something so small. And please take a screenshot of this episode and share on IG, tagging me at Khewella. That is Khewella. Khewella. That is my goddess wear brand, my Instagram page. I would love to know what your takeaway was, or something you found inspirational, or a confirmation you believe in as well. That would make my day. And you can always DM me if you have a topic or a certain question in mind that you want me to talk about. And give me a 5-star rating if you feel like it. That would help this podcast immensely to get the word out. I love you. See you on the next one. I want to see you shine your brightest.